Big day. I mean, a lot going on with the bowl game and all the excitement and anticipation on Monday. Today, having the opportunity to release 10 new additions to the program. This has been a unique recruiting cycle and certainly a unique recruiting process for these young men that have made their decision where we've lost May recruiting, where we were able to go out and see them their junior year, where we lost the opportunity to attend camps during the course of the summer, where we had an opportunity to work with everybody individually in person, losing the opportunity for them to visit, for us to go to their games or them to come to ours, to be able to interact with each other, missing the opportunity to do home visits and sit down with them and their families one-on-one. It's certainly been a challenge for colleges around the country, but it's been an incredible challenge for these young men to try and make a college decision when you're trying to really do everything virtually and what you can learn online and what we can do in Zoom calls, videos, I mean, things like that. We've done everything we could to bring this to light, to make this real to the young men. The other thing that is really unique about this recruiting process, has been unique about it, is the roster management. With the NCAA passing the rule where seniors had the opportunity to come back, and you've got 85 players on your roster whose class doesn't change. We had 16 freshmen on our roster this year, and adding I believe it's 9 freshmen that we've added today. I mean, it's going to bring our freshman class next year to 25. And so you got to be careful because you want to make sure that you don't add too many freshmen, and all of a sudden you've got half your roster is in your freshman and redshirt freshman class. So that's one of the reasons the smaller numbers that we're signing are on purpose. It's intentional for where we are, what we're trying to do and manage our roster with some of the new rules that have been put in place. With that being said, when you look at this class right now that we are releasing today, these new additions, there's 4 offensive linemen, which is a position of need for us, 1 running back, 1 quarterback, 1 wide receiver, 1 defensive end, 1 linebacker, and 1 defensive back are in the class. So you look at it, really a lot of need on the offensive line that we tried to answer right now immediately with some of the underclassmen that are here, that are in this group. But also, I mean, keeping the door open for some of the other avenues to add additions to your program moving forward. There's 5 from the state of Louisiana, 2 from Texas, 1 from Georgia, 1 from Mississippi, and 1 from Arkansas. So when you look at it, it's pretty broad-based with what we did. I thought the staff did an incredible job under the circumstances that we had of trying to make the best of a very difficult situation, and really proud of the way that our staff and even our players, when given the opportunity to interact, whether that be Zoom, et cetera, with some of these recruits, I think they've done a great job. We've got 16 freshmen on our roster and 15 redshirt freshmen. And so, like I said, when you add this group, you add, I believe that makes 31, and adding 9 high school players gives us 39 freshmen or redshirt freshmen on our roster for next year. Now, saying that, it also comes with some proven young guys. When you talk about Cedric Woods, when you talk about Tyler Grubbs, when you talk about many of the Dakota White, when you talk about many of the freshmen and redshirt freshmen that have contributed on this team, which makes me feel really good about the future and where we're going. If I'll briefly go down maybe some of the positions, talking about on the offensive line, really excited about Kenneth Bannister and what he brings to the table. His size, his athleticism. I think this was a huge take for Louisiana Tech, and I think he's a guy that really has a chance to come in and help us. You put one other offensive lineman, obviously, that's got a chance to really make a difference is the graduate transfer, Samuel Williams from ULM, who comes in with, I think, 16 or 17 starts. He's got an awful lot of experience. He plays tackle, which has been kind of a position of need for us, and really excited to add not only what we think is a guy that can really bring some immediate help with Samuel, with the experience that he has, but also with the young guy in Kenneth Bannister, who I think has the talents and abilities to play the position. Aaron Bean and Carson Bruno, two young guys from over in the Shreveport area, both very, very talented, have some flexibility with some different positions that they can play on the offensive line. But I think two really good young prospects. We've liked them for a long time. They've been on our radar. These recruiting lists start their freshman and sophomore years. They made early commitments. They wanted to be here. We wanted them. I think they've got a chance to both be bright stars. And when you look at, like I said, some of the young offensive linemen that we've been playing with the addition of these three freshmen, I think the offensive line has a chance to be a strength for us as we continue to move forward. Looking at it, the defensive end we signed was Jaden Burnett from over in Fort Worth. C.J. Calhoun, a linebacker who signed with us, also from Texas. Again, I think both those guys defensively probably going to be a little bit harder maybe to jump right into the mix at D-line and linebacker with all the upperclassmen that are there, but I certainly think they're two great takes. Marques Crosby, I think, is one of the steals in signing day. When you look for him, I think as a junior, he rushed for 5,000 yards. I mean, he is a very, very talented young man. He committed to us right before the season started and has hung with it. I mean, he's a very, very talented player in a position where right now you have Greg Garner and Harlan Dixon that are starting to get a little bit of work. But depending upon what Izzy Tucker decides to do with his senior year, again, there could be a great opportunity for a young man like Marques to step in and help this football team. Going right down the list, Carlos Durnavant from Georgia, very talented defensive back, a position, again, where we feel like we've got a lot of returning starters. Zach's coming back. Cedric's just a young guy. Jaden Cole playing his role, as well as B.J. Williams. So we've got a good nucleus coming back for a young secondary. But I think Carlos is a very, very talented player. Brings ball skills, skill set with them. Played receiver, caught about 25, 30 balls as a wide receiver, defensive back. I believe he had 5 interceptions in one game as a junior, which is absolutely unheard of, but a very, very talented and electric player for sure. And then the last one to add to the high school list was Solomon Lewis. Solomon Lewis, that paper came in about 3 minutes before I walked in this door, which is why I was a couple minutes late. And they had to get the signings from the parents and then from Solomon, and so trying to run that around and get all that done, and finally that came in. Very explosive wide receiver that brings speed and athleticism, and I think has a chance to be, like I said, as good as he wants to be. He's got personality. I really like the addition of him, what he's going to bring not only to the field, but what he brings to the room as well. And then the last one, I saved him for last because he's already enrolled. He's not a lot like Samuel Williams. Caleb Holstein, who is a junior, or a gray shirt for us, who came in. He sat out in the fall and then enrolled here in the winter. Both him and Samuel enrolled in the winter, and they're in classes right now. But Caleb Holstein, what a great opportunity for him to get in here, to be here for the winter quarter, to have an opportunity to be here for bowl practices, to be in the weight room, to start really feeling comfortable. So when he comes back after Christmas break in January, he's going to have an opportunity to hit the ground with his feet running, because he's going to have an awful lot to learn as a young quarterback coming in here. But it's going to be great to have not only Luke back and Aaron back, but to have two young quarterbacks in J.D. Head and Caleb Holstein. I think give us the 4 quarterbacks that we're looking to take into the fall next year, all of them in spring practice. And let's knock on wood that this year we get one of those from a developmental standpoint. But makes me feel really good about the quarterback room. I think, again, every one of these young men bring a strong academic background with them. They bring an awful lot of talent. Many of them have been on teams or are on teams that are still competing for state championships. They come from winning programs, and they've been very, very successful. With our limited numbers, knowing that we were trying to stay 10 or below, and we didn't want to go above that with the dynamics of recruiting I talked about earlier. We were very pinpointed in with where we wanted to go. We were very tight with our offers. We weren't, some people throw out 100 offers and see which ones want to come. We were very targeted with what we did and the handful of players that really were handpicked out of this class that we wanted to be the additions. So really excited about the young men that are here, really excited about the young men that signed, and look forward to working with these guys for the next 4 to 5 years and seeing the progress they're going to make and the way they're going to grow and develop on the field. But I think we made ourselves stronger today, which this is certainly a day for additions.
Any questions for Skip?
Coach, I know you got the kid Durnavant out of Georgia today. Talk a little bit about him. Was there a connection to him coming to Louisiana Tech? And like you said, another talented guy to add to that defensive backfield.
Yeah, very, very talented. As we talked about, the statistics that he's put up, like I said, 5 interceptions in a game, both offense, defense, has made a lot of contributions. You know, signing Alan Walker from over in the Atlanta area, and then Jared Means, who came from Tennessee as a transfer from the Atlanta area. It's an area that we're starting to get into a little bit more. I think all of a sudden you have a high-profile name like Alan Walker who comes here, puts Louisiana Tech in the news in Atlanta. People start looking, and it's a place that we're starting to maybe dip our toe into the water a little bit more. There's great talent in Georgia, but I think there wasn't just one contact that made it. It was something we reached out. We started this process with them, and like I said, he was interested, and that's how recruiting works. I mean, you reach out to a lot of players maybe that you think have the athletic, academic ability to come in here, and then the ones that respond and there's an interest on both sides, and that's where it really starts to grow and develop. But that'll be an area that you'll see Louisiana Tech kind of dipping into a little bit more. I don't ever see us going to Atlanta and taking 15 players with the talent that we have in this state, but I certainly think it's a place that we will go into and try and take 1 to 3 a year.
Go ahead, Bo.
Coach, talking about gaudy statistics, Crosby looks like a video game. What all can he do skill-wise to add to the running back core you'll have next year?
Well, when you look at him on film, it's going to be hard to say that he's not going to be able to contribute immediately. You look at him physically, he is well-built, stocky, strong, speed, athleticism, open field ability. He has the ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. I think he's a little bit of a combination of all of it. I think he's very, very explosive, which is one of the things that a guy like Harlan Dixon brings to the table. But he just runs with such a passion. He just runs with so hard. He runs so hard, and that's the thing that we loved about him. And like I said, when you look at his film, I couldn't be more and more excited that I think he has a chance to really be one of the bell cows in this class. I mean, along with I look at Bannister. I mean, there's a lot of them, and you never really know how they're going to pan out. But certainly, when you look at his highlight film, it is one of the more impressive highlight films that you're going to watch in recruiting today.
Coach, just to follow up a little bit on Kenneth Bannister, I think Rivals.com rated him as the number 66 offensive tackle prospect in the country. When you look at Louisiana Tech and the level playing in Conference USA, obviously not a Power 5 league, how big is it to land a tackle of this quality coming out of high school, and obviously a great program in Edna Carr?
Yeah, Edna Carr, I mean, the way that they've done it year in and year out, he understands what a commitment is. He understands big-time football. He understands what it takes to win. The training that it takes during the off season. There's a reason IndyCar wins every year. They get it, they understand it, and when you take a guy like that, I mean, I think Brock Hayes has done a great job with them, building a relationship with him being down in that area. From that area, I think really had a lot to do with it, the personal relationship that he built with the young man to show him that he can come here and get on the field and play. And you take a talent like that, who I think maybe has an opportunity to come in here as a tackle and maybe make the same type of contribution maybe that like a Dakota White has made for us. And we were all hoping Dakota could get on the field a little earlier for us, but the 6 weeks of contact tracing and quarantine that he had to sit through kind of stunted his growth a little bit this fall. But when you watch what he's done the last 2 games on the field, I'm talking about Dakota White, I think that's the type of impact that a Kenneth Bannister can make in this program. But very, very talented, very athletic, great size, great feet. I think he's got a chance to be a real gem.
Or did you have a question? Go ahead, Corey. Corey, you're muted.
It never fails.
It works better when you take it off mute, just as an FYI.
Yeah, a little bit.
For future reference.
Skip, 6'5", 280, 6'4", 290, 6'6", 290, 6'7", 322. Obviously, you want some big guys up front offensively, but collectively, the size that you guys were able to add to the football program today is pretty eye-popping.
Well, the 3 Bs, Bannister, Bruno, and Bean, when you look at it, the 3 Bs of the offensive line, all have great size. And again, you add Samuel Williams to that as an addition, and there is great size. But when you look at what we've gone through so far this year, we were talking tackles, and I mean, all of a sudden, Willie Allen's gone, Donovan Campbell's gone, Anton Lewis is gone. I mean, you lose 3 of your top tackles, and you find yourself, you're trying to move guards to tackle, and it's an area of concern, an area where we felt like we needed to make an immediate impact. And I think we certainly are doing that with the 4 additions that we made today on the offensive line. In an offensive lineman, you can recruit talent, you can recruit size, but it's all going to be about their development. I think the way that they develop their mindset, the way they pick it up, the way they learn it. But I think, like I said, I couldn't be happier about what we did. When you look at one of the areas of concern when you watch us play this year has been our offensive line play, and especially at the tackle position. I think we went through the first 8 games of the season. It was the first 7 games of the season, and we had 1 tackle grade a winner in our Victors Club. And so when you look at it, we've got to get better play out of our tackle. It's one of the reasons that I think our quarterbacks have struggled a little bit with the amount of pressure that they've been under when you look at the number of sacks that we've had. And so it was certainly an area of concern. You could see it coming, and getting into recruiting and saying we've got to make sure that we don't go through this again. And we still may not be done on the offensive line. We're going to bolster it as much as we can with the injuries and some of the defections that we had this year to try and strengthen that, to make that to be one of our stronger suits. When you look a couple years ago, we signed a young man named Josh Moat, and he came in here at about 260 pounds, and now he's a 290-pound guard. These 3 are all coming in as high school players that physically are ready to contribute. Physically, they're going to be, you always talk about how hard it is for a freshman to play on the offensive line, because physically they have so much development to do in the weight room, and they still are going to have some development, but all 3 of them have size, speed, athleticism, and I think, we hit on a quarterback. You go back and look at Caleb Holstein's statistics and what he was able to do as a high school player. A lot of sizzle in that take right there. A lot of sizzle in the defensive back and Solomon Lewis, the wide receiver, and Man Crosby as the running back. There's a lot of great individual takes in this class, but I don't think there's any doubt that the offensive line is where I can take a deep breath and a sigh of relief and say, you know what, at least we won't go through next year what we had to go through this year. And that was one of the big objectives of what we went through in this recruiting process. But when you look at this class man for man, I wouldn't give any of them back. I'm really excited, and that this wasn't a year where we were trying to, we got to take 18, so take that guy at the end. We didn't settle on anybody. This was our target list. This was the people that we set as our number ones way back in May. And we set our targets, and these are the people that we Zoomed, we talked to, we interacted with, texted with. These are the young men that we spent our time recruiting. And it's certainly glad to see that this class come together the way that it did. But I think those 3 high school players really are what this class is all about.
Go ahead, Moat.
Coach, knowing that you've got 2 veteran quarterbacks coming back, hopefully healthy, and given the fact that hopefully we will have spring football, how wide open will the quarterback race be as we head into the summer and hopefully next season?
I think that it's certainly going to be kind of a 2-2 race. We've got to take the upperclassmen that have been competing all year, gaining experience. Now that we're in the situation that we're in right now, I'm certainly glad we played 2 during the course of the season. So you're not trying to go into a bowl game with a quarterback that is playing for the first time this year in quality time. So I think those 2 are going to continue to compete. But I also think that we've got to give JD and Caleb an opportunity. We got to see what they can do. I think it's been very difficult for a guy like JD Head, who left high school early, to enroll here to get a chance in spring practice. Only there wasn't one to get an opportunity in fall camp. Only the hurricane came through and cut that short, and we missed half of our camp. And so then you get into the season, and you have the upperclassmen that you went with, and JD really hasn't had a chance to show what he can do. And so when we get into spring, I want to see the 2 upperclassmen compete, but I also think we've got to be fair, and we've got to give JD and Caleb an opportunity to compete. So as much as I think it's a 2-horse race at the top with 2 guys that are older, experienced, and have been in the offense, I think the 2 guys in the back, a lot of times a horse that wins the race comes from behind, and they're certainly going to be in the conversation. We just have to see really what they're capable of when we put them behind an offensive line, and you've got a full defense in front of them, and you're going live scrimmage work. And so we're going to learn a lot about the quarterback race this spring, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch it because there's going to be 4 guys competing.
Go ahead, Corey.
Skip, you've mentioned maybe trying to bolster the offensive line a little more over the next month and a half before the February signing date. Where else on this team do you assess that you guys could add some more guys, on that second signing period?
Well, I think, we could take probably upwards of, maybe 8 to 10 more players on this roster. A lot of it is going to be predicated upon the decision some of the seniors make, which is going to create openings on whether or not they're coming back. Right now, they're coming back, but we've still got a couple guys that are in a holding pattern that they're not really sure what they want to do yet. You want to give them time. You want to give the opportunity when the bowl game gets over, go home, get your feet on the ground. We come back here on January 4th, where we're going to have the opportunity to start for the 2021 season. And so I think it's going to be give those guys till then, let them see what they want to do, kind of reassess your roster at that point, and maybe where you need to go for maybe some grad transfers or a late high school player, et cetera, predicated upon the depth of your position. So I think there's still maybe upwards of 8 to 10, and then you also have to see that after the season, if it's any indication on what the transfer portal has looked like and the way that it has gone crazy, I don't know what some of the underclassmen are going to think. We will have all those meetings when we come back in January. So I think the old time recruiting was, there was players left maybe after a season, and then you went through signing date in February and you had 1 day to add. Now I think when you're looking at kind of the the college version of the free agent market and the transfer portal, with that rule being decided on in January, I think that you're going to find that people are going to be tinkering with their roster all the way through the summer. I think you're still going to see people that are trying to fill positions of needs. It's going to be interesting on the way the rule passes in January, because is there going to be another exodus maybe after spring practice? Nobody knows right now. There's just so many things that are new, and then we're in uncharted waters right now. And so we as a program have made the decision to really kind of go about this slowly. Let's not go overboard. Let's not go sign 22 high school players when you only get 25 new additions every year. Let's kind of play this slow and roll into it, because even signing only 9 high school players, that still is going to give us 25 freshmen on our roster for next season, with the NCAA rule to hold the clocks of everybody. So it's kind of a roster management decision where we are. But like I said, we're going to go through this slowly, and you may see us add one every other week, one a month. I mean, it's just going to be kind of a rolling process at this point.
All right, any more questions for Skip? Awesome. Thanks, Coach.
I appreciate it. Thank y'all. Great day for the Bulldogs today. Thank you.
Nice, Coach.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank y'all. And girls. Sorry. Didn't mean to leave you out.